close. He lays out and makes the catch.
And we are back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast. June has come and gone, and the Phils, they finally figured something out. Took 2 out of 3 from the Mets, which is new. It was one of those series where, like, you ask the Mets, and they don't really feel like they should have won the series, and you ask the Phils, and they'd say the same thing. No one really deserved to win that series because they both didn't play too good, but the Phils grinded it out, and it's nice being on the right side of a meltdown for once. It's usually the Phil's bullpen that we've come to know doing that, but it's nice to see another team doing that to us. But no, 3-3 homestand, keeping the status quo pretty much.
Absolutely. What's up, everyone? I was actually at Sunday's little collapse, and it really does feel great to see the Phillies not pressing and playing that sort of baseball and playing relaxed baseball and letting those mistakes haunt the other team. I just feel like this baseball team, even with some of the ups we've had, we don't see a lot of that from them. So that was really good.
Yeah, I was actually there on Saturday, and besides it being just super hot, and I sweat my way through the entire game. It was hot as balls. A lot of Mets fans there, so it was nice to see them. Not on Saturday, but I'd imagine Sunday it was probably nice to see them melting down with their bullpen because, they always make the trip down. And it's kind of a little payback because last year I went to Citi Field and the Phils got shelled like 15-0 with Wheeler on the hill. You might remember that game. It was rough. Kind of just, contemplated my entire Phillies fandom. But, they returned the favor. And we're slowly learning. We're slowly kind of forming an identity. This team is very different from last year's team, which is kind of weird considering not much changed. But it's a very different team. Whether it's better or worse, that's kind of up for each of you to decide. And did my computer freeze?
God damn it.
Oh, man, I didn't even freeze in a good spot.
No, dude, it looks
that
like
is
you're
like the worst.
You look angry. You look really angry.
I am angry. This should have happened. Okay. We're not going to let that break our stride here. We have business to talk about.
We do.
Because late June is when it kind of picks up and you start hearing the chatter. You hear the chatter from the actual Phil's reporters. You hear the chatter from the people on Twitter who think they're a Phil's reporter. And collectively, you have just a ton of different voices, and it's kind of our job as fans to kind of pick apart what is important, what we should really be listening to. So I'm going to ask you this, and it's probably going to form like the whole basis of this conversation. What should we be prioritizing for this trade deadline? Because there's a lot of different names coming up, and there's a lot of different positions. But what is our goal? Because I think we have the same goal here. So what is it?
Starter.
Absolutely. It's a 5th starter, and it's not remotely close to you, is it?
What was that?
It's not really a competition for you,
well,
right?
I wasn't going to go scream 5th starter. I'm completely okay with going and getting a mid-rotation or a top-line starter and then just sliding the order down.
All right, I got my ugly face off of it, right?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, beautiful.
Ugly face is off.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and the reason I bring this up is because Paul Goldschmidt has become a popular name here. And the moment you texted me and brought it up, I didn't like it. And as time continues to go on, I don't like it. Not because I think Paul Goldschmidt's bad, because he's not. He just won MVP. But there's a couple of things working against us here. And also just like an overarching point here, we're trying to build a baseball team. Like I understand going and getting the best player on the market. It's great and everything. But generally, you don't just – that's not how you build a baseball team. It's never been it's never really worked. And it should work in a perfect world, it does work, just getting the best players like that. But there's something about just going out and loading up on as much talent. You have to build a team. You don't have to build you have to build a roster more than anything else. And I do like Paul Goldschmidt, but who do you think? What name do you think the Cardinals ask for if we call up and ask for Paul Goldschmidt? Who are they saying?
I mean, it has to be Mick Abel and Rojas, probably.
Do you think we could get Paul Goldschmidt without giving up one of the big 2/3 arms?
Rephrase that. What was that?
Do you think we could get Paul Goldschmidt without giving up one of our top 3 top 3 prospects?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I don't. No chance.
Yeah, that's the first problem.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah, one, they'd want a ton for Paul Goldschmidt. Two, are they even trying to get rid of Paul Goldschmidt? Have you heard anything saying that the Cardinals are shopping Paul Goldschmidt? Because I haven't. I have no idea who thought of this, but I don't think the Cardinals are even going to trade him, right?
I mean, I don't know why you would. I guess he is an aging player. But no, he's Paul Goldschmidt. You keep him no matter what because he brings fans to the game. I don't see him getting traded in general.
Yeah, the Cardinals are 1 year out from a playoff run, and I mean he's on the older side, but he's the face of the franchise. And the Cardinals are a team that's always been pretty good, so there's no reason to believe they're not going to go for it next year. And that's not a piece you move. They're going to move marginal free agent type pieces, not Paul Goldschmidt. So I really kind of want to just put that to rest, because I just think we're wasting our time even dwelling on it because I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to address. There's kind of a philosophical issue with Phillies fans now. Since David Dombrowski's taken over, is probably when a lot of the Phillies fans have kind of came back to becoming Phillies fans, and now there's this thing where we believe that the Phillies are always going to go out and get the best player on the market. And that is a scary, scary thing to get stuck into because fans like me and Josh and a lot of you who have watched this team struggle over the past 10 years knows that young talent does not grow on trees and you can't just trade them all because we need them all.
We really do. And with we've said this a million times, but with we're not sure what Nola is going to do. And this is a team that we want our window to be 3 or 4 years. And I mean, Paul Goldschmidt's 34, 35. He doesn't even fit in our window, really, in terms of age. The only plausible reason that we could even think about that is because his bat would look very good in our lineup. But,
look good in any lineup.
He really would. But the improvement that this team needs, it's not that. I get that the offense hasn't been super good, but the improvement you're going to get from getting more at bats from Paul Goldschmidt and less at bats from Sosa and Clemens, it'd be great. But the price it's going to cost, it's just you got to do a risk analysis here, and you have to really weigh it, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth it for the Phils now or the Phils in the future.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't think you have to weigh it very long either. I think you just look at the future pieces you have to give up and you say no.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the first name. The second name that I absolutely don't want, and that's going to be Jack Flaherty. I didn't see this rumor. You texted me this one.
I did,
Jack Flaherty, he is not good. He was good. Trust me, I know. I've been obsessed with him for several years in fantasy baseball, hoping that he would revert back to his 2018, 2019 self. But he's not that guy. He doesn't throw as hard. He's not as nasty. He's not as durable. And he has the curse of being a brand name. Same problem with Shane Bieber. We won't get into Shane Bieber because
we already talked about that.
Yeah, we've already exhausted that. But Jack Flaherty is going to be a rental and probably a pretty bad one. That feels a lot like Noah Syndergaard again, where we went out and got the guy who, his name, and he's been good before, and he's going to come here and he's just going to stink. So pass on that.
That is a very good comparison. He would be the Noah Syndergaard of this year. Yep, pass every time.
Yeah, pass on that. So you texted me Tyler O'Neill too. There's been a recent obsession with trying to get Schwarber out of left field, and it's fair. He's not good, but the problem is what's really happening here is Christopher Sanchez is really messing up all of our episodes here and kind of our plan for how we're going to approach the deadline because he's been very good. And now without having someone stink it up every 5 days in the 5 spot, all of the fans have turned their attention to other positions. So now we're trying to move Kyle Schwarber and we're trying to get a first baseman when it's just masking the problem. And Schwarber's never going to be good out there, but we never expected him to be good out there. So why are we even worrying about that now?
Yeah. Now this is something that we all talked about the minute it happened, and it's we are stuck with it for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and even if we were to move him, why would we want Tyler O'Neill? He's not good either. I don't know who's coming up with these names, but they're clearly. I mean, they must be stuck in like 2020 or something, 2021, because these guys aren't going to solve any problems. Fifth starter is really, I mean, it's where we need to go. And just kind of gut reaction. Where would you go if you were in Dombrowski's shoes? And I know we're going to have a deeper dive into our real offseason or trade deadline wish list. But as of today, who would you be calling up and who would you be trying to get if you were Dave Dombrowski?
If I'm Dave Dombrowski, I'm trying to fix it internally first. I think that we have enough young guys. I know it's not a great opinion. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. But I think we have enough in Christopher Sanchez for now to bridge a gap to a potential fifth spot share between Griff, Mick, and Andrew Painter in the second half of the season. We've heard it's possible for all three of them. None of them have been ruled out to make the bigs this year. And I think that great teams can find solutions from within. I think the period of us going out and shopping for everything should be over.
Okay, so you are in the bandwagon of we have the pieces to fill that role. And I hear those people because we do. We have relatively high upside arms, just, AA, AAA. They're almost ready, and they're going to be ready soon. The problem that I find with that thinking is, one, you're counting on Christopher Sanchez a lot, and I do like Christopher Sanchez. I think he's just a good pitcher who can find his way through ball games, but I don't know if I'm at the point where I can trust him to get through the rest of the season because that's our contingency plan if the young guys aren't ready. It's Christopher Sanchez, and the second problem is even if we do have those options, if we lose an arm here going down the stretch run, if we lose Ranger Suarez for another 6 weeks or we lose, Zach Wheeler for a month in August, I mean, then you're counting on Christopher Sanchez to be your 4, and you need the guy in the 5 spot to step up. You need that young guy to step up. So I do think that the likeliest outcome is we would be okay if we kind of wrote it out with the guys we have. But I've become so risk averse with the pitching because I'm of the belief you can never have enough pitching, and
I agree,
going out and getting a veteran cheap arm.
I mean, but the minute you do that, then you're depleting the young arms that we have.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up any of those guys. I mean, do you think that to get a Drew Smyly, just for example, he's not my guy, but do you think they're going to ask?
We already had Drew Smyly in our bad era.
I mean, just think of some names, some back of the rotation arms that
James Paxton.
Okay, I didn't know if we were going to go into James Paxton this episode. But even James Paxton, I don't think you're going to need to give up one of those top 3 arms. And sure, he comes with his own injury risk, but you're gonna get a guy who can get outs. He's not a normal 5 starter. Here's a guy you can throw out there in a playoff game and be fine. And
but when do you throw out a 5 starter in a playoff game?
I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can go there, and you don't even know if you're going to have 4 healthy starters come October. You should probably be planning for the worst with the way pitching injuries go nowadays. We've seen a lot of pitchers get hurt. And as we know, this team is really nothing if you don't have the 2 guys at the top pitching well. we need to get them going for the playoffs, and they need to be healthy. But we need to have options if they're not. Just because it's what good teams do. I mean, look at the Rays; they lost their whole rotation, but they're just so deep and they're so talented and they're so good at developing. It doesn't matter, and that's how a team. And that's how a team endures throughout the season. You have the guys waiting in the wings, and we do, but those guys, I mean, it's tough.
Why don't we trust them?
You never know what you're going to get. I mean, Bobby Miller throws 100, and he's gotten shelled his past 3 outings, and he was a top pitching prospect in baseball, a top 4 pitching prospect. And then you have Grayson Rodriguez, who was the only pitcher ranked ahead of Andrew Painter. Where is Grayson Rodriguez? He's back in AAA. Because this doesn't make sense. You think you have something until they get up here, and you just don't know. I mean, I'm sure one of them would work out, but you just don't know.
I can say the same thing about trading for a veteran. You think you have a sure thing, but we've traded for players who've come over and pitched the next 2 months like dog shit. So it's all a gamble. It's just which gamble are you willing to take?
Yeah, but if you have just say you have a 50% chance of a pitcher working out, the more pitchers we get, the more pitchers we're going to have work out just by nature of having depth. So it's a philosophical argument that, I mean, I see both sides, but do you really think that this team? So what you're kind of saying is this trade deadline is going to come and go, and with the way you're looking at this, just let it go, let the team go. That's what we got.
I'm not being short-sighted about this at all. Like, I look at the Phillies. Like, when I think about like Phillies, I think about like the next like 5-10 years. Like, I want to enjoy the Phillies for the next decade. And I look at our pitching situation. Nola free agent, Wheeler the next year. We just have to start focusing on our young guys and making them. Yeah, it might not work out, but oh well. We gotta let them try this year. Got to put them up in the bigs this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my camera if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
So what are you doing exactly? Are you not doing anything?
I'm not gonna do anything. If we want to go grab a 5-starter, like a Paxton, maybe someone a little bit lower than that. I think a lefty would be nice to have.
Okay, so you're not doing anything. But do you think
not
we're not going to?
Not much.
Do you think we're not going to do anything? Do you really think that?
I think we're going to go out and get a Drew Smiley equivalent for sure.
Oh, we're back to Drew Smiley.
Yeah, we're going to get some. We're going to get some guy that's not good at baseball, but he's tricked everyone that he's good at baseball this year. Yeah, we'll probably go out and get a guy like him, and he'll be completely ineffective for 2 months, and everyone will get their wish.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's probably what's going to happen, and we should expect nothing less. To be completely honest, it's how
all right, Josh,
it seems to go.
What are you doing? That's my question. What the hell are you doing at the deadline?
Well, first stop is going to be Best Buy to pick up a new laptop. But after that, I'm going to call up the Red Sox and James Paxton. No one really remembers James Paxton. James Paxton's good again. And he's thrown 96, and we don't know how long he's going to throw 96 because he gets hurt every 5 starts. But man, dude, I'm just thinking about if everything comes together here, you have. I don't even know what you do if you get James Paxton in a playoff series, but I remember watching him in the NLCS against the Astros when he was on the Yankees, and the guy has some guts. It's like I never left. I was here the whole time.
What was that?
It was Countdown. You didn't pick up on that?
No, dude, you threw off my vibe, man. What's going on? Can you?
Yeah, so as I was saying before you rudely interrupted me, James Paxton's thrown 96 again. And I mean, at this point, we've tried the whole boring veteran thing. We got the Kyle Gibsons. We got the Noah Syndergaards, who I don't know if you've been following Noah Syndergaard. He's a disaster now. He's going to be out of baseball next year. Let's get a guy with some stuff, James Paxton, I can't tell you with a straight face that he's going to stay healthy or he is going to even be throwing a baseball come October. But if he is, he's going to be good. And there's some peace in that. I mean, we do have these guys. And between Paxton and Abel and Painter and McGarry, something's going to work there. Something will work. And the more guys we put on the table for quality innings come September and October, the better position we're going to be. And if it costs the fifth or sixth best prospect in our farm system, do it. Let's do it, right?
It could
Life's
be a
short.
Ben Brown situation, but no. But I actually will put my negativity aside and say that I think James Paxton could be one of those weird players that ends up making a great impact on a playoff team. I just think he's been so relevant for a while, but yet effective. I would be open to seeing him come to Philly. I think it's a nice connection that he's Canadian. Rob Thompson's Canadian. That's all I need. That kind of sold it for me.
Dude, I don't know why, but I just have this dream, this like daydream type thing. I just sit and I think about, the rest of the season, and I can just imagine, game 7 of something important, and, all the big guns are, kind of, we use them all up, and we have a couple arms left, but, we have James Paxton. He's waiting in the wings, and he gives us one of those gutsy, patented performances that you think of when you think of just, October baseball. He just grinds it out for 7 shutout innings, Mad Bum style, 2010, 2012. I don't know. Something's clicking there for me. I think it's a good idea, and it's a lot more fun than Drew Smiley. So that's that.
I will riot if we trade for Drew Smiley.
We're so going to trade for Drew Smiley.
I will riot. We'll burn down the city if we trade for Drew Smiley. If we trade any of our nice young prospects for Drew Smiley, I will scream and I will riot.
Yeah, so we're probably just going to trade some unheralded prospect who they're just going to turn into a front end starter like Ben Brown. So that'll be fun. That'll be good stuff.
Yeah, that whole side of the trades is really getting to me these days, especially at this point with where we're at as an organization. We're kind of set up nicely for the next 10 years as long as we don't mess up our player development. If we can keep our player development doing well like it has been the past couple of years, we're in a great spot. Just don't mess that up.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So that'll be interesting, and I hope for your sake and for the sake of all of us that we get a guy. We don't get Kyle Gibson part 2. I don't want Kyle Gibson. But no, we'll see. We'll have a very in-depth breakdown of that when we get a little closer, and hopefully the Goldschmidt talk kind of winds down and we can focus on what's really going to happen. But in the meantime, Phil's are grinding along, and real quick, I don't know if you've noticed, but we don't hit home runs anymore.
No, we're not really hitting a lot of those things, are we?
No, why not?
They come in bunches, I hear.
I don't know. If you take out Schwarber, who even by his standards is having kind of a down year, Bryce has 3, which is we can kind of chalk that up to Tommy John, and I feel like that's just a normal thing. People don't have a ton of power when they come back. But Trey Turner, JT, Castellanos just got to 10. Bohm cooled off, and he's back to Bohm. And
I was gonna say we talk about Bohm this episode because he has really, really leveled out as a player. And I saw a meme that his stats really are Maikel Franco.
Okay, okay.
But look at the stats, man; they're not very good.
All right, well, we got a couple of things going for us with Alec Bohm. I still think he is a good enough hitter to kind of approach 280, 290, which is, that's a fine major league starter. But it's funny because like the outcomes for Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm, the outcome's not that different. I mean, at the end of the season, there's a very good chance their stat lines are pretty similar, 280, 290 with 15 home runs. But we've kind of we've done this thing with Bohm where we expect so much more out of him just because he's tall and he plays a corner infield spot. They're giving Bryson and Bohm are giving us the same thing, and it's both useful. I mean, it's all useful production, but we have such high standards for Bohm, and I'm starting to think that that all that stuff I was saying in the offseason about 30 homers and uh, I don't know if it's
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to
it
happen
sounds like you're
for him.
contradicting yourself here, man, or you're swallowing your losses.
Yeah, no, I'm not afraid to kind of take the L. I think
You
in
think
another
but is it too soon to say Alec Bohm can't be that guy?
I don't know. This is what 2-3 years with K Long, and K Long makes an impact like that. He turns guys around in half a season or season, and Bohm looks exactly the same as he always kind of has, and I don't know why. I think it's too big of a change for him to really do it. It's so unnatural to him, and it's just not him. And I get it.
Yeah. No, it is what it is at the end of the day. Does it suck? Because could we have used a homegrown superstar? For sure. Who doesn't like a homegrown superstar? Uh, but it's tough because third base is a very important position in baseball, and it helps to have a star over there at third base, and a lot of the best teams do, and we don't.
Yeah. So it is. There's a couple things we should note too. He's much better defensively than he was, and
Oh yeah.
I think that he's fine there now, which was a big problem early on. We were concerned about his hitting and his defense, and I'm not really super concerned about the defense anymore, and I'm not really concerned about the hitting either. I think he's a fine hitter, and he's definitely a
I do
major league
too.
caliber hitter, but he's not a 30 home run hitter. And I mean, at
Yeah.
his best right now, I think he's probably a 20 homer hitter, and I don't
I
even
feel
know
you on
if
that.
that's I don't know if that's I don't know what that really means, but it's we just have to temper expectations for him. And I mean, same thing with Brandon Marsh. These guys, they go on these runs where you know Bone bats like 450 for a month, and he has a huge spring training, and then Marsh has 3 or 4 weeks where he just looks like a totally new hitter, and it's so easy to forget like baseball isn't like that for the most part. I mean, it happens, but 99% of the
Well,
time, change just isn't that easy, and it's
the
not
mic
linear.
the microscope wouldn't be on these guys if guys like Real Muto and Harper were
Trey
hitting for
Turner.
power right now. Turner's actually playing decent ball right now. Castellanos playing good ball, but Real Muto and Harper, the minute they wake up, then people kind of are okay with the role that Brandon Marsh and Alec Bohm play. And I think Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh and those type of younger players, they kind of they like that little like it takes a little pressure off them when those guys are going. Pitchers are giving them better pitches. It's a whole sort of thing.
Yeah, so you're right, but unfortunately, I don't know what we can really expect from Bryce in terms of power this year. I mean,
Yeah, not betting on
I
much.
I don't think we're gonna get much out of him, and it's really incredible he's even back now. But it's gonna take a while for him to get his strength back, and it's not gonna come from him. I mean, it's not gonna come from Bohm, Stott. I mean, Trey Turner. I always knew that was a possibility because he didn't hit the ball hard. His peak of like 28 homers. He's not a 28 homer hitter. He's probably a 15 homer hitter, which we're going to
Mm,
realize here soon. And then
I don't know.
JT, I mean, JT always seems to get a pass because he's a catcher and he has a tough job. But he's been bad too. I mean, he has a very high bar for himself, but he has
Yeah,
not met that bar this year.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, a lot of these guys are obviously going to go through hot streaks. The summer's just begun. We saw Real Muto do it last year. To completely turn around his season. So like Bohm, like I watched him yesterday. He hit the ball hard twice, and he looked really good. So I don't think it's too late for him to turn it around. I think I got a little bit too hard on him right there. I'm actually
Yeah,
still,
you threw
I'm still.
Michael Franco.
Well,
That's not.
it was a meme. It was a meme I saw, man.
Oh my God, Michael
It was like
Franco.
that. You're wearing glasses, then like you see Alec Bohm, you wipe it off, and you see Franco.
Yeah, I think he's a better hitter than Franco, but I hear what you're saying. Um, and it's also, the outcome. It's not the top outcome for Alec Boehm, but it's certainly not the bottom outcome. He's still here and he's still a major league producing player. And we see first round picks not work out all the time. So we are lucky in that regard. And then Brandon Marsh, he has gone through it, and he's cooled off the most out of all of them. And his path to becoming a really productive major league player, he's out of all the starters in the lineup, he's the farthest away from it. He's still got a lot to work out, and I think that he's getting there. He's looked better over the weekend, but yeah, him too. It's been a roller coaster.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so that kind of hits on the lineup. I mean, the only ones I'm not really worried about are Castellanos, who's a beast, and Bryson Stott, who's prime Ichiro. No, I'm just kidding. Don't record that. I'm gonna end up on a meme myself. But yeah, no, that's kind of what we got going on with the Phils. Nothing really else from me. You have anything else you want to hit? I don't even know how long this episode's been because I took a hiatus to update my laptop.
We're running up there. We're getting close to 40, so we'll try to. Hopefully that part gets cut out. But
yeah. Last thing, the Braves are insane.
Yeah, they are.
That's all I got. They're really good.
They're good organization.
Acuna is going to win MVP, and Olsen leads the league in homers. And they have like 5.
All right. Well, this isn't a Braves podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
So
all right.
Save that for at home.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we're like 10 games back, but the wild card's in reach. So we'll just keep chugging along, and hopefully we have more answers soon enough regarding what the rest of the season's going to look like. But as always, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Go Phils.